Alex Jones being banned, which is probably the saddest day of my life. You know when you see Michael Jackson fans when he died and they were all in their sparkly gobs going... That was me. It was very, very sad to hear that the most entertaining man on YouTube was banned from YouTube. Who is it now? Rice Gum? Still great. Love them both. But Alex Jones was better. He was a fat Texan Rice Gum. He was more hilarious. This is a sad day for free speech. But more importantly, it's a sad day for jokes. Anyway. I was watching his cast on Twitter now, which is pathetic. If you ever want to try and watch 3 hours on Twitter of live coverage, you know you're in the internet ghetto at that point, don't you? That was specifically designed for people that don't know that much about politics to be extremely snarky about politics on. That's it. It was not there to watch an entire radio show. But I did, because it's my guilty pleasure. I do really like him, just like how a lot of people go, what can I say? I like Blondie from the 80s. She made hits. Alex Jones. Shameless fan of his. So I was watching it, and I was crying. It was actually sad to see that, but I don't know why, because it was like when someone dies in the bush and then a bunch of magpies encircle them making nice voices as their spirit ascends into the heavens, and you can imagine the spirit going, You know, when you die in the bush and magpies encircle you, we all know that that's a fact. And if you're a bad person, it's crows. Anyway, he seemed like that. I've never seen Alex Jones remotely happy, but him being banned from those formats, he seems satisfied, as in, it's all exactly how I envisioned it to happen. For once, this is 9/11, that's pretty much it. He's got terrible odds. It's a really good thing that he's a commentator instead of a pundit, let's just put it that way. But the point is, while I was watching it, he said something in that 3-hour cast that really resonated me in a self-help way, which is hilarious, talking about somebody who now is, well, let's be honest, sort of failed. But anyway, he said it that we're going to keep doing what we can with what we've got. That's pretty crucial. You should think about that. In fact, you should even meditate on it. You should even write it down. Do what you can with what you've got. Because so many people they're constantly comparing themselves to where they want to be. So for instance, if you wanted to be a rapper, you'd look at someone and go, oh, Eminem, by the time he was my age, he already had 2 LPs out and an album. What have I done? I've made some shitty rap on YouTube that was recorded with the little record button on an iMac. It sounds so bad. And that's the only reason it does. I'm an excellent rapper. All those people are constantly saying and using as an excuse that the reason that they're not where they are is because of something else. It's because of connections. It's because somebody else isn't pulling their weight at work. It's because they have one of those alligator slippery dips and they went down and they broke their leg. But even if you broke your leg on an alligator slippery dip, you can still do a lot of things, can't you? Because you've still got, if I just do my maths right here, 1 leg. There's always something that you could be doing. And that's the key, because a lot of people, there's a lot of people that just had resources from when they were born. So the Koch brothers, for instance. But then there's other people like, a perfect example is Tony Robbins, who was a billionaire at this point, and he started with absolutely nothing. He was born in a 1,000-person town to an abusive mum who had 4 husbands. But he kept utilizing his resources, and everything that was in his power to influence, that's what he did. It's the same with you. There is a lot of things that you could be doing right now that you're not doing because you're using excuses. A really good example is Miss Love. I love him to bits. He's the guy from the podcast who everyone's always going, you gotta get rid of him, he distracts everyone. No, that's the point. I don't want to be talking about politics on it. I just want to hear his bizarre views about Christianity, okay? Listen to it. See for yourself what the hub is all about. One person's talking about it, the person that's on the podcast. He recently has been trying to release his second EP because he's a musician. And I'm not just saying this. Forest Hall, check him out. They actually are good musicians. Really good musicians. They have a unique sound. Sounds kind of like Jet. But better. Way better. I personally think. Now, he's always using excuses like, no labels are signing me because my sound isn't right. Triple J doesn't want that sound at the moment. It's all about connections. Everyone, every single person you ever talk to, why aren't you doing something? And that is right to a degree. I totally agree that it's much easier to get to places in life with connections, but if you don't have connections, thank your lucky stars that you don't. It's way better because you accumulate a skill that cannot be replaced if you have to work for it. But in this example, I said to him, why haven't you released one of your videos? You've got 6 songs, release a video for each, you see which one hits the most, and then you just keep doing, you cursor it. You just keep pumping it out, always doing something, bro. If you remember the previous video, and if you don't and you're a new person here, personal joke, not going to tell you which one. Hint, it's the one with the title cursor in it. So he said, Miss Love, not curse. They're both he's though, aren't they? That's right, boys. So anyway, why hasn't he released anything despite the fact that he has done an EP, I think 3 or 4 months ago at this point. Finished. And he got a stoner to do it. If you didn't get a stoner to do it, and this is a tip, if you're ever producing an album, never get stoners to do that. Get a fat guy with a ponytail and a Metallica shirt on. That all he ever wants to talk about is Warhammer, Magic the Gathering cards, and really niche heavy metal bands. Those are the guys that you want to do it with. First of all, they're way better to hang out with. They're really fun guys. But on top of that, they get the job done. So, side note for musicians, for everybody else, he releases, he's got the EP, now he's just waiting for videos to be produced. The other day I said to him, what have you been doing for your band in the last 4 months? And his response was, nothing. Why? Because I'm waiting for a video to be edited. What? There's a million things that you could be doing for a band. You could be booking gigs, you could be writing other songs, you could be compiling a third EP, because guess what? When that one's released and everyone goes, nom, 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 nom. Oh, Sticky Finger released a new one. Okay, nom, 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 nom. There is infinite stimulation in this world now. You have to keep pumping out content. You can't just sit there and take a 4-month break if you want to be doing something with your life. A 4-month vacation, not even a 4-month vacation. He works really long hours in a kitchen. If you want to get out of that monotony, you need to be pumping in a lot of work into the thing that you're passionate about. You can't just sit there and say, oh yeah, someone else just dropped the ball, so I guess it just stops. No, it's like a factory. You have to keep producing. And if the conveyor belt screws up, I was about to say a bad word then. If the conveyor belt screws up, then you improvise. You start doing it by hand. You do whatever you can to get the shipment out. Anything. You know, when I started this, all I had was this crap camera. This is actually the 3rd one that I've got now, because now I just like the aesthetic. Hipster. And I'm really sad about it as well. They're getting rid of them. Shame on you, Sony. What about the one customer that likes those things? Did you ever think about moi? When I first started out, I didn't have an editor. I didn't have a producer. I didn't have somebody to manage my social media accounts. I had nothing. I had... What did I have? A room. That was it. A room, this, and a bunch of shit wigs. And now I've got more shit wigs. Look at the success story. The thing is, I remember at one point, my camera broke down because, as you can plainly see from the image, they're pieces of shit. That's gonna happen. So, and I couldn't afford to buy a new one because it was flat broke. I invested everything I had into this channel. So instead of doing nothing for the next 3 months and going, oh, well, I'll just have to scrimp and save to get another camera, and in the meantime, I guess production stops. I wrote 3 months worth of material so that when I did finally have a camera, I was ready to go and pump everything out. There's always something that you could be doing. I guess it's just a slight variation on always doing something, bruh. But it's a better way to think about it because you see a lot of people using this mental barrier in their mind and it eats away not just months of their life, years. Mislav is a very talented musician. He's probably the most talented musician in the world. Well, that's subjective, isn't it? Just like comedy. But the thing is, I personally think that he's really good. I think he sounds way better than most of the garbage that you hear on Triple J that is getting really heavy coverage. The only thing that he hasn't utilised is his own personal power. That's it. He's extremely talented. That's great. That's a good start. But that is nowhere near as good as having a strong work ethic. And that means that whatever you can do, you have to be resourceful, especially when you're starting up with something. You have to just do whatever you can with what you've got. And eventually, more resources start coming to you. It's called the law of utilization. It's just, when people start managing their money well, they start getting more money. Don't ask me how that happens. I've got my own theory. I think that it's God. But it's because they're just focusing on it. And because they're focusing on money, they start seeing other opportunities where they can grab more money. It's the same thing with anything else. It's just, okay, I might not have a 10-album record deal with Sony at the moment, but what I can do in the meantime is write a song instead of watching shit on Netflix. See you next week.